Thank you for coming on into the live and sharing your essence with me in this eternal moment of which we all share an inextricable and inexorable part. Thank you for doing your part, for coming on in each and every day. Let's go right into the chart, shall we? Bada bing, bada boom. Here we go. We had previously seen these support regions. This is the Bitcoin 14 days in this upwards ascending channel region, and we banged to the upside from there at the 706 region, and we are trying to reclaim some of these resistance points as support. One of these daily bounce points that we broke through as support back in June has been reclaimed on the daily time frame, at least for the interim. And this level as well, these daily resistance points could be SR flipping here, and we previously had been wicked up to this daily close up here and got wicked off of that. So are we starting to see a climb of ascension to reclaim some of these levels? We were talking about potentially trading within this ascending range before making our way back down. This is a 786 region or 886 region of a pitch fan level that we've had back here since January. So this is a quite interesting thing to capture price in this diagonal fib level. So let's go into the liquidity of the heat map for Bookmap. What is the liquidity? Well, it's when people leave their liquidity into the charts to be burnt to a crisp by the market maker. So let's see who is getting crispy today, shall we? First, we're about to forget these guys on the 1 minute time frame. We only have a few more minutes for these guys to get lost in history. But let us not forget our $276 million man at 100x down here at 28.74 in terms of all of that juiciness below and all of these little bubbles of his friends, his partners in crime, including this 29.33.6 $310 million 100x character that is just screaming to be reclaimed at some point down here as they are about to forget it. And this entire thick pink region just looks really, really juicy. Even though we are going sideways here, do not necessarily mistake this for support. There is all this nice liquidity for them to come just gobble up down here, particularly at these ranges down here at the 28.86 region. Just very thick in terms of liquidity as opposed to upside. And this is just going off of this 1 minute time frame. I think it was previously up to $20 billion, although we've been forgetting that over the history of the minutes being deleted here. So it's been going down steadily as time progresses. So $20.1 billion now down to $17 billion in cumulative liquidation delta that is located below in terms of longs on this juicy 1 minute time frame. So we have to step into higher time frames to see whether tethers to the upside in external pools are enough to hold us and keep us going higher. On the 7-day time frame, we do have those 31.2 regions bringing in the billions up top. We do have some juiciness in billions getting stacked below as well. In terms of heat, it is hotter up above, but thicker down below. Interesting to note, and getting hotter as well, even though they're out of the purview in the immediate, they are still liquidity on the table. So these guys at 27.450 have been getting hotter down here as well. So in overall, just looking at this as a entire scheme, there's more down here in these regions in smaller amounts, but there is a stacked amount above here at 31.2. I think 31.2 is the thing we will see coming up again and again in terms of a narrative push to take out one last pool before it gets sparse. So at 31.4 you have a sparse pool up here. 31.2 has $18 billion on this monthly time frame, and you're starting to get some heat in the single digits below in terms of billions here. But the narrative push to 34K is starting to get those double digits in liquidity starting to stack up above in terms of shorts. Interesting to note, the thickness is getting more, which was previously not double digits, is now appearing as double digit liquidity in terms of billions of dollars up above on this time frame. Also, as above so below, you're starting to see these pools at 25K thicken as well. When do we reach that pivot point where it becomes thicker down below than above? The 3-month time frame starts to suggest that. So as you look on the 3-month, you see the happy campers down below at 19.4 region and a lot of billions of dollars down there. The 22.8 region also has a few $100 billion here, and the 25.8 region has a few $100 billion as well. So we have this entire range that we shot up out of to grab all of this hundreds of billions up in liquidity here to the 30K region. The last of the outskirts of this is the 31.2, $37 billion up here in this region. Okay, so if they were to grab this, there is stuff up above, of course, on the path to 34K, but just in terms of what you're looking at down below, it starts to weigh on you in terms of decision making as to whether this move will be sustainable forever or not, because people will need to eventually take their liquidity off or see the reversal come eat into their idea on longs. Shout out to everyone here. Let's see how's it going. Hello Subby Guy and Rayman Crypto. Welcome you guys to the stream in the house. So 6-month time frame, looks like that got knocked out for whatever reason. I guess they reached that 80% of their margin call, so this got knocked down from 49 billion to 5 billion on 31.2 on the 6-month. So the thing that's playing the tug of war in terms of liquidity, just it starts to get heavier down below now. And this previous idea happened to do the same thing. If you go to the yearly time frame, as we started to thicken down below for the double bottom idea here in October, we just came and ate right back into it. And same with the bearish tones that were being set, and the short liquidity just looked too scrumptious to handle, and they shot up to it. So on the yearly time frame, you do see these paths to the upside still being paved up to that 34.8 region, starting to get the $50 billion zones from 32.4 all the way to 34K in terms of 50 billion pools on that external range. Also, those characters we were talking about, sub 19K and 22K and 25K, those regions also showing those thickness of liquidity, but just further away in terms of how we would get there. So this pales everything in comparison and shows you where all the liquidity lies on the yearly time frame. 15K does have $200 billion that have been slowly rising and maintaining that $207 billion as a pulling down of price. We don't nearly see that same amount at 34 at 84 billion. So this could be caked up some more as we eat into some of these. You never know. Let's go back to the 3-month and then head into the fib levels, shall we? So looking to that 31 in the immediate time frame, you have the 31.2, 37 billion as the target for a hit if it continues to the upside on those external ranges. And that 31.2 would put you in line with kind of reclaiming this region here on the daily time frame. So are we going to see some sort of narrative push up or not? That is the question, or break down into these regions. So let's go to another chart with better fibs on here that are not diagonal. Here we go. Same idea. We wicked up and reclaimed this and failed. And then we're currently closing beneath this region. So the daily candle closes in 8 hours, as does the 22 and all other time frames. Interesting to note how that stochastic updates. So on the daily time frame, we're getting overbought here. Before we get into the momentum, we'll just go over the fibs. So if you were looking for a retrace back into these regions, the 618 would be the nice idea to think about, because it would also coincide with some sort of SR flip. You could even come down to these regions here and SR bounce off the 706 region, which would also coincide with these bubbles, which are disappearing fast on the 1 minute here. This will be the last time we will be able to see them on the live stream, which is the 2874 character here. I have him marked off, the 2874. 200 million also happens to be that 706 region. So in terms of a reset on the daily time frame for a continuation of a long idea, it would be to go here before continuing. Just a healthy zone to confirm for support, rather than buying at a premium to hope that it goes up to 31.2 for me personally. Okay, so that is just the levels to look at for a long, would be down in these regions for that bullish order block to be triggered. Let's go a little bit lower. Well, we can just turn on Momentum Master while we're here. And boom, boom. What is Momentum Master? Go to momentummaster.info, scroll down to features, toggle everything you like, all of the indicators or single components, and read about them at your leisure. We had previously had resistance at the adaptive moving average. We broke through it, coming back down to this region with SR flip and confirm kiss that adaptive moving average. One thing to note is we did get a cross up event on the daily time frame from the previous cross down negation here. Let's go to the 22, shall we? So the 22-hour time frame, the Williams is getting overbought, and the stochastic RSI and the money flow and the RSI are also in overbought regions. They could continue a little bit higher on the scale. However, money flow is above the RSI slightly here. Could taper out and see this come down ever so slightly. The MACD does look like it's about to cross on the 22-hour to the downside, which would bring this coming on down to reset. What do I mean by reset? Well, the probability waves would the momentum waves would start to come down, and you could see a cross on the 22-hour time frame here, similar to this idea here. And then you come down at least a little bit to reset some of that probability. All right, so we're going to go to a lower time frame than this. Let's look at the 12-hour. This cloud kiss idea, we broke through the cloud after it thinned, and we are coming back to potentially kiss it, which also coincides with those levels quite nicely. So do we come back into that? We're starting to see this potential of a cross down event on the 12-hour. If the 12-hour closes in a red state, that will bring this down a little bit, and you wait for that to close for these confirmation ideas of these kind of drops to the downside. Okay, so we're going to take a look at the 8-hour, because we had an 8-hour cross down confirmed on the baselines. What are the baselines? Well, you can go to baselines on the Momentum Master indicator, read about it. It's basically a first sign of reversal at being a leading moving average formula, one of the few leading moving averages out there. So we have this coming down here and crossing with a close. We previously had that occur on the 6-hour. Over here, indicating the top could have come in around here. So we had that stop hunt rise, and we started to come back down as we crossed down here. Okay, so the 8-hour is also giving that cross down event. We previously just had a 8-hour candle close, so this bearish divergence on the 8-hour is starting to play out, but hold in a very nice manner and reset that 8-hour momentum in a nice way. The Williams is overbought though, so you are looking for this to potentially fade, but the amount that you gave back by going sideways, this is a bullish kind of idea. When you have price action going sideways while this resets, it does indicate a bullishness, which you could interpret to see a push up to that 31.2 region for that last little grab of liquidity before coming back. That's interesting to note. 6-hour also getting low now on the stochastic RSI. Williams getting that alarm cross, and positionally volume is leaving here, and we are maintaining. Positions are exiting. Are they switching positions, getting ready for a retrace of some kind, is the question. The 4-hour is starting to get down in the reset regions. The Williams is also resetting in this slow but surely way, which could suppress the 4-hour just ever so slightly down to these regions to test the ATR or the cloud of itself on the 4-hour time frame. 4-hour being in 4 hours when it closes, so the daily candle close should see some interesting plays on low liquidity weekends. Hourly time frame also getting low in terms of the probability waves of getting oversold. The cloud is being very thick here in terms of a volume weighted formula, so even if we were to hit this cloud similar to here, this was like a bearish retest idea. We did get a cross up event, but it's been not met with so much volume to suit, so we've been seeing this slow bleed out into these 236 regions, 786 rather, sorry, of the bullish trend based fib extension levels. So this coming into the 706 or the 6.65 is not absurd to think. You got a shoulder, head, and a possible shoulder to take you down to those regions. The neckline from here to here. Would take you kind of down into that 706 region. Interesting to note, you are getting the signal on the Momentum Master Ultimate telling you the 3 time frames are oversold. This would come direct to your phone, so you would get these dynamic alerts off of that come to your phone letting you know these time frames are oversold. What do you want to do? Was it reaching a key level you liked? And they're not buy sell signals, just if they reach key levels and give you that information. You don't need to be staring at the charts all day. Okay, so we're getting to this region where the potentialities are starting to occur. You see this rounded top, which is an inducement pattern to create some high resistance for a trade to smoothly drop to the downside. Getting that rejection off of that daily close level. Okay, let's turn on the liquidation levels here and see. It just looks like it's going into the 100x, swatting off the 100x long guys down here. There's clearly more 100x longs than shorts, so they're coming into the 100x longs. Does that justify them to come all the way down to the 50x at this time? Perhaps not, but in the interim they are knocking out the 100x longs at this time.
Fatality.
And this is what they do. They like to come into these regions and induce and grab. Induce, grab. There's clearly more longs than shorts by looking at these dots. So that's what they're doing on this small little baby time frame of the 15-minute. How's everyone doing out there? This is just a short but sweet update, keeping you updated over the weekend. We expect the daily close to do what it's been doing, which is just range trading, possibly trying to reclaim a level of support here after taking out some longs. Maybe just try to reclaim 30,473 as support, so they could bounce up to that level on the daily time frame if they're hanging out here for the interim until that daily time frame close in 7 hours 51 minutes. So trying to reclaim this resistance. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9 days of resistance. Are they trying to reclaim that at 30,473 as a support structure on the daily time frame? So that is what I think is happening by staying here seemingly fatigued. Are they trying to turn this into a green candle close is the question. Are they going to snake by with that, or are they going to see a red candle down here to reset some of the probability? The 3-day is also closing, I believe, something to note, and the 3-day is overbought. You had a previous cross down event that which got negated by coming up here, and you're getting a cross up event which is yet to be locked in until this closes. So where does the 3-day want to leave us in terms of probability? We are steadily overbought on all of these things. The RSI could come up a little bit more with the money flow, but you're pretty much maxed out on all of these momentum waves. This momentum is seemingly strong on the 3-day, just opening up nicely. Could peak out here at that time. So wherever it closes, that would peak out the 3-day. It's already at 97 and it's overbought on both the RSI and the stochastic RSI. Interesting to note. Let's look at the 5-day. 5-day also overbought, also closes tomorrow. So the 5 and the 3-day coincide tomorrow for that close. Are they attempting to maintain strong for that close to reclaim these ideas? On the 5-day time frame, you do have these resistance points from 31,000 that would be hard to claim within a day, I think. So this also puts into account that 31.2 tap idea. They might just hold off on it. I have no idea. So when you get these thick clouds here like this is not easily immediately pierceable, and it has to take time to curve back up. So you'd see some consolidation of some nature before this comes back to roost on the hourly time frame. Just similar to how we went up here, and this curvature was suggesting that we come back down again, and this was negated, if you will. And even here we kind of came up and we had to contend with the cloud before continuing to the upside. So if this were to thin ever so slightly on this level, you would come up to it and then kind of play around with it before continuing to the upside. So if you're unsure about that, you'd wait for that confirmation kiss and thinning here if you were going to look for that move to 31.2 of some kind. But this rounded out price action on the top is suggesting that we possibly come into these liquidity pools down below on the external range of this sideways consolidation. This is a SR flip potentiality at this 786 of the bullish trend base fib level. We have resistance, 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 support, somewhat support. Are we trying to support kiss flip this idea to go to 31.2 is the question. Okay, depends on your level of risk and how exposed you like to be in terms of scalps or longs or shorts. Hi there. Thanks for coming on in. We're just trying to make this a short but sweet update, just so we said we can update you every day. And we did go over the liquidity just before. We're about to lose these guys, so we're just giving one last note of where they're located at 28.74 and 28.43. And we could say goodbye to these guys that are still open but just lost in the annals of history. That's annals, not anal. Alright. It is 1:14 in the morning my time. I'm just doing this as a one-off before bed. You do have this guy at 29.33, another $310 million long character. I think we have that marked off, 29.333, yep. So these guys marked off in the charts are those 100x guys that I personally expect them to come back to. Are they going to create that shoulder, head and shoulders idea? You know, if that happens, that's where you are intending to go. In terms of a long too, finding that 618 golden pocket region for a bounce there is what I would be doing for longs. This is premium for me, so this is not my long scalp idea. Highly risky. People would be drawing their flags, ascending channels. I mean, this is just an ascending channel like so. But this is kind of like rising wedgie, and near the bottom of the wedge we could break down out of this without hesitation. You're getting 4 time frames oversold now. been holding it sideways for a while. Alright, ladies and gentlemen, I am just doing a quick update here. ETH had a little bit of a run to the upside. From what I gather, it's now above 2K. Held it quite nicely. So it had the similar signals giving to you for those long potentials that played out. And you are getting that levels respected on the trend-based fib tools. Let's remove this one because there's too many overlaps, but that was kind of one that was being respected on the 1618 region of this rise retrace idea on the daily. We can remove it though. We are simply in this region of people taking their profits on these previous impulse retrace ideas from down here. Impulse retrace continuation, and this continuation brought you to that golden pocket region. This is why we use these fib tools. The trend-based fib is your friend. The impulse and the retrace sets the math for where you're intending to go, and it goes there. So if you set these maps in order, it shows you where the resistance will occur, where it does, and then we mosey on out if permission is granted beyond those resistance levels. Okay, so that's about it. I don't really have much to say other than there is that liquidity that we're slowly forgetting down below here to note in terms of $20 billion in long liquidity on this 1 minute time frame. This juiciest level at 28.86 down to the regions of that seems to be the thickest zone for me in terms of knocking out those 100x characters. If we intend to go higher, that would be the wise play to have, which would be to come down to this region, knock out some of these longs, and then based off of knocking out some of these longs, you create that buffer zone, if you will, for the bullish order block to continue higher and kick them out in the process. So getting to this region, you'd have to see some sort of pullback to ideally this adaptive moving average guy, and then kind of bounce off there. And that would also coincide with your adaptive moving average on the daily time frame. So seeing that kiss off the adaptive to say, yes, we have flipped you to a support structure, let's continue higher please. And then that 618 of that impulse is also kind of maintained as well. So 3-day, 5-day, daily calling for a slight pullback. Weekly also overbought. At some stage, the nice run to the upside will say, let's chill for a little bit. If nothing else, sideways dojis for a few weeks. Who knows? That kiss off the cloud here was amazing on the weekly. We broke up, came back, kissed it perfectly, and continued. So these formulas are fractal in nature, these ideas of the cloud thinning. You come up, you break through, you kiss it, you continue. It just happens over and over again. So they're fun to note on these Momentum Master indicators. Shout out to my growing team of funded people. We are also trying to use NinjaTrader to trade stock futures to get funded. I think it will start to occur next week. We'll see. I need to figure out how to actually go live on the evaluation. I did the simulation and tried to go live on the evaluation, but it would not. It rejected for some reason. In terms of oversold status though, you should see some sort of bounce just off of the algorithms detecting the oversold status here on those 4 time frames. Okay, so that 100x that gets knocked out could bring us back up to the other 100x here as we just do low liquidity consolidation, range trading slash. All right, so yeah, what do I suspect will happen before the weekly candle close? Well, you could reclaim this 30,473 as some sort of daily support. If you don't reclaim this for the daily close, then we could see this just bleed out into these regions for that next day before the weekly candle close. And maybe the weekly candle close attempts to close out strong. Let's look at what the weekly would be attempting to reclaim if it was doing something. It would try to reclaim these adaptive moving averages like the daily did or the weighted. So you wouldn't want to see this close as a wick if you were looking for upside, because then that would just suggest coming back down further. So if it maintains this strong, then you can reclaim some of these weekly levels like this down here on the weekly time frame at 29.9. That would be your weighted average. So it would try to maintain that as much as possible, I think, based on the charts. So the weekly time frame wants to maintain that 706 region of this retrace level. If it breaks down below that, then these could go continue lower. So if the weekly time frame maintains this, you could keep going higher. If the weekly time frame goes beneath this line on the 706, you could be eating into this sooner than later. And that's what she wrote. So let me just once again look at that probability. The 12-hour is coming down ever so slightly. If you get that 12-hour cross down event, then you could expect the 22 and the 12-hour to come down on you. 22 is overbought too, so the 22 and the 12, despite the 6-hour and the 4-hour being oversold here, this could be that trap that gets those impatient people to long, and they ride that liquidity suppression down. This is why we look at the 12 and the 22, because it gives you that undertone, that undercurrent potential of what's happening with the 4-hour. If you play that 4-hour risky play, you could be like, well, it's oversold, I'll just take it. But remember, the Williams could be opening up here for a dump on you to suppress that down further. And that's why you do have duds on the ultimate entry on both sides of the equation, for that matter, where you have 4, 4, 4, 4, where you're getting overbought on 4, and then 5 was your trigger for it to go down. So 3 could be the trigger to go up, but it is what it is. There are 3 oversold here, so that's why it's messaging you about it. And then previously, when we had that 5 oversold here, that was your bottom for BTC. So the 4s and the 5s and above tend to be the catalyst for reversals on this ultimate entry formula. So this was being recorded live when we were streaming, and that was your ultimate bottom from there. So you could take that risky 3-4 idea, or you could wait for it to appear as a 5 for a continuation idea. All right, well, that's about it for today. I want to keep it just short but sweet. Your time is precious and you should be enjoying your weekends. I will be out with family tomorrow, so I will catch you guys on the flip. Once again, thank you for coming on into the live and sharing your essence with me in this eternal moment of which we all share an inextricable and inexorable part. Thank you for doing your part, for coming on in each and every day, and I will catch you on the flip and do much of the same by bringing you the fire every day. Let's go. Peace.